The richest people in the world don't think about money the way you do. And if you looked closely at their daily habits, you'd notice something almost counterintuitive. None of them are doing what financial experts tell you to do. They're not hustling 18-hour days. They're not obsessing over stock tickers. They're practicing 7 specific habits, mostly invisible, almost never discussed, that silently compound into generational wealth over time. This is what separates the top 0.1% from everyone else. And it has nothing to do with luck. We've been handed a blueprint. Work hard. Save 10%. Invest in an index fund. Retire at 65. That's the standard script. And it works, if your goal is to be comfortable. But comfortable isn't wealthy. And the gap between comfortable and wealthy isn't just about earnings. It's psychological. The ultra-rich operate with a completely different operating system. Different mental models, different time horizons, different priorities. Today, we're dissecting 7 of those habits. Not the surface-level stuff you've already heard. The deep structural behaviors that most people walk right past because they don't look like wealth building at all. Warren Buffett has a rule. He keeps what he calls a too hard pile, a physical designation for every investment idea, every business opportunity, every decision that requires too much analysis or introduces too much ambiguity. He doesn't try harder. He doesn't build bigger spreadsheets. He simply walks away and waits for something obvious. In his words, "I don't look to jump over 7-foot bars. I look around for 1-foot bars I can step over." The average person tries to maximize every opportunity. The ultra-rich filter relentlessly for clarity. This is habit 1, the wealth filter. Before any financial decision, ask yourself a single question. Would I still commit to this if I couldn't exit for 10 years? That question eliminates 90% of wealth-destroying moves in one shot. It forces your brain to shift from excitement-based thinking to conviction-based thinking. Most bad financial decisions are made in a state of excitement or social pressure. The wealth filter short-circuits both. Before your next financial move, apply the filter first. Naval Ravikant, entrepreneur, angel investor, and one of the clearest thinkers of the modern era, made a statement that stopped people in their tracks. He said he doesn't consume news at all. Not because he's uninformed, because he understands a fundamental truth. In the information economy, your attention is the asset being bought and sold every second. Every breaking news alert, every doom-scrolling session, every viral debate, these are withdrawal events from your cognitive bank account. The ultra-rich treat their thinking time the way a surgeon treats sterile conditions, non-negotiable. This is habit 2, the silence advantage. The practice is deceptively simple. Protect 60 minutes of every day as a no-input zone. No news, no podcasts, no social media, nothing coming in, just silence, a notebook, and your own thinking. This is where the highest leverage ideas emerge. This is where the connections form that others miss. In a world of infinite noise, the person who can sit in silence and think clearly holds a rare and compounding edge. Not just financially. In every domain that matters. Most people are risk-averse. The ultra-rich are risk-asymmetric. There's a critical difference. Risk-averse means you avoid downside at all costs. Risk-asymmetric means you engineer situations where the downside is capped and the upside is unlimited. And then you act without hesitation. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's partner and one of the greatest investors of the 20th century, described his core investment philosophy as inversion. Instead of asking, "How do I win?" he asked, "What does catastrophic failure look like? And can I survive it?" If the worst-case scenario was survivable and the best-case scenario was extraordinary, the math demanded action. Most people protect the downside so aggressively, they never access the upside. This is habit 3, asymmetric risk thinking. The behavioral shift is this. Stop asking, "Is this safe?" and start asking, "What's my maximum downside? And what does the upside look like if I'm right?" When the loss is capped and the gain is exponential, the asymmetry is in your favor. The ultra-rich don't avoid bets. They only make bets where the math tilts their way. Here's the counterintuitive part. the one that nearly everyone misses. The ultra-rich don't primarily think about building wealth. They think about being a certain type of person. And that distinction changes everything. Behavioral researchers have found that identity-based habits rooted in who you believe yourself to be, are significantly more durable than outcome-based habits, which collapse under stress and uncertainty. Verify. The wealthiest people you'll ever meet don't say, "I'm trying to save more money." They operate from the identity of someone for whom wealth-building decisions are simply how they navigate daily life. This is Hat 4, Identity Architecture. The practice: audit the language you use around money. "I can't afford that" becomes, "Is this the highest leverage use of my capital?" "I'm not an investor" becomes, "What would a thoughtful long-term investor do here?" Small linguistic shifts create massive identity realignment over time. You begin making decisions from the inside out, not reacting from the outside in. This is the invisible lever that almost no financial book touches. The most overlooked wealth-building mechanism isn't in any finance curriculum. It's your network, but not the transactional, business card-swapping version of networking. Something far more powerful: deliberate relationship compounding. Warren Buffett has credited his decades-long intellectual partnership with Charlie Munger as one of the most wealth-generative decisions of his life. Not just financially, intellectually. Two rigorous minds, each sharpening the other over 50 years. The combined output was exponentially greater than either would have produced alone. This is not anecdote. This is a system. This is Habit 5, Relationship Compounding. The practice: every single month, initiate one high-quality conversation with someone whose thinking genuinely challenges yours. Not someone who validates your current worldview. Someone who operates at a level that makes you feel slightly out of your depth. These conversations, accumulated over years and decades, become your most durable intellectual and financial asset. The ultra-rich aren't just compounding money. They're compounding the quality of their thinking. And thinking quality, over time, is the multiplier on everything else. Warren Buffett reportedly spends up to 6 hours a day reading. Not social media. Not newsletters. Books. Long-form material that demands sustained thinking across history, psychology, science, and business biography. He once compared knowledge to compound interest. The more you know, the faster each new piece of information connects to existing patterns, and the higher the return on every insight. This is Habit 6, Learning Velocity. And the compounding effect is real and measurable. Someone who reads 50 books a year across multiple disciplines doesn't just know more than someone who reads 2. They think categorically differently. They see patterns that others miss. They make connections that produce decisions worth multiples of what the average person will earn in a lifetime. The practice: carve out 60 minutes of genuine deep reading every day. No skimming. No summary substitutes. Read to think, not to finish. And give every reading session a specific purpose. Ask before you open any book: what belief or decision is this going to sharpen? Purposeful reading compounds differently than passive reading. One builds knowledge, the other builds judgment. Ingvar Kamprad, the founder of IKEA and one of the wealthiest individuals who ever lived, flew economy class his entire career. He drove a decades-old Volvo. He bought his clothes second-hand markets. Not because he couldn't afford otherwise, because he understood something at a cellular level. Every dollar spent on display is a dollar removed from the compounding engine. The pattern repeats itself across first-generation wealth builders with remarkable consistency. Sam Walton drove a pickup truck well into his billionaire years. Warren Buffett still lives in the Omaha house he purchased in 1958. These aren't quirks or PR stunts. They're a systematic behavioral habit, delayed lifestyle, that silently and relentlessly amplifies everything else on this list. This is Habit 7, the practice. Every time your income increases, redirect a minimum of 70% of that increase toward investment before any lifestyle upgrade. Let your lifestyle inflation lag your wealth accumulation by years, ideally, decades. The gap between what you earn and how you choose to live is not a sacrifice. It's the engine room. It's where the compounding lives. And compounding, given enough time, becomes something that looks from the outside like extraordinary luck. Wealth isn't built in one bold decision. It's built in the invisible space between decisions, in the habits, filters, and identity shifts that compound quietly over years and decades. 7 habits. The wealth filter. The silence advantage. Asymmetric risk thinking. Identity architecture. Relationship compounding. Learning velocity. Delayed lifestyle. You don't need all 7 at once. Pick one. Install it this week. Add the second next month. In 5 years, the compounding effect of these habits will look like overnight success to everyone watching from the outside. If this changed how you think, subscribe. I break down these frameworks every week, the psychology, habits, and mental models of the world's highest performers, distilled into tools you can actually use. Drop a comment below. Which of these 7 habits are you implementing first?